Welcome, everyone. We will be starting shortly. Waiting just for a couple of more people to join. Meanwhile, for those that already joined, I'm a bit curious to know where you're dialing in today. Could you write it in the chat, please? Scotland. Wow. Malta. You don't say, Christian. UK, Canada, India. Oh, wow. Bogota, Colombia, Austria, Germany, Austria, Wien. Not bad. We're all people from all over the world. California, not bad at all. UK, also not bad. Noodling, also not bad. So, I think we're ready to start. So, welcome everyone. And thank you for joining us today. First things first, let's start with the agenda for today, what we have in place for you. We start with a welcome and introduction with me. I'm Alessandra. I'm the client and business development lead here at ancoreSoft. Then we'll go into data with our Captain Christian Eckler, our head of development, who will share with us what's more at ancoreShare and with ancoreScript. And then we'll have Christof Schwarz, our famous influencer, our favorite and famous influencer, who will explain to us and introduce us in the world of ancoreMobile and not all, also ancoreBackup. Then we'll have a Q&A session where we're expecting from you a lot of questions. Let's see if you can stress out our experts there with your questions. And last but not least, we have a little surprise at the end for you, so stay with us until then. And without further delay, I'll pass the word to Christian Eckler with ancoreShare.
Thank you so much, Alessandro, for this nice introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Christian Eckler. I am the head of R&D at ancoreSoft. And today, together with my colleague and friend, Christof Schwarz, we are excited to share some of the latest innovations shaping the future of development at ancoreSoft. So my focus today is on ancoreShare, our powerful reporting suite for Qlik. So buckle up, lean back, and enjoy the ride. And if you're new to ancoreShare, I'll walk you through the essentials. And if you are already a known customer and you know ancoreShare, get ready to discover the latest features. But at first, let me start a big question. Why consider an additional reporting solution when Qlik offers so much? Or does it? So Qlik has deployed and developed many different reporting tools in the last years. Like there is tabular reporting, QA reporting services in Qlik Cloud, storytelling, we all know that. And the latest innovation was pixel perfect reporting. Yep. And each of these tools were built with a specific use case in mind. And they all have their strength, no doubt about it. But in practice, this also means that reporting split across different environments, each with its own logic, interface, and limitations. And that leads to familiar situations, many tools, but not one that does it all perfect in one tool. So I have another question. Did you know that a lot of New Year's resolutions for 2025 focus on not losing weight, but on reducing stress? As many of us feel overwhelmed with too many tools and the everyday work life. Yeah. And this is exactly the gap we are addressing with ancoreShare. Reducing many tools to a single solution that covers all your reporting needs. From a pixel perfect layout to tabular reporting, data exports in almost any format. Yeah. And everything happens in a single unified interface. And that feels natural to Qlik users. And just because it is the same properties, dialogues, and user experience that you have if you create any kind of Qlik chart, of course. And whether it is on a on-demand request with a mouse click or it is automated with a scheduled request, all is covered by ancoreShare in the very same report. And together, it builds a simple, fast, and seamless way to creating your reports. What do I mean with that? Let's make a little comparison to make the difference even more clear. I prepared a small example. On the lower right, you see a straight table in Qlik in your dashboard, holding some 3 columns, sales, margin, quantity, and some color formatting. Okay, nothing fancy. What if you want to export that as a multi-page PDF using Qlik's latest innovation, Pixel Perfect reporting? So what I'm going to do is I start this. This is a video. And of course, they're recording us. We will play it with 8 times the speed because otherwise it would take too long. So what you need to do is with Pixel Perfect, you need to completely rebuild the table that you already have done in your Qlik dashboard. And with rebuild, I mean each and every column needs to be dragged from the field list into your report. Then you need to size it in the size you want to have it because there is no drag and drop or that automatically gets the size from your regional dashboard. And from then on, you start by setting up each and every formatting for each column. And if you're done, finally, the result is not exactly the same as it is in your dashboard, of course. Color formatting, etc., nothing appears. So this is the rebuild of a table with Pixel Perfect. Let me show you what it means when we do that with ancoreShare. In ancoreShare, we have a single interface, as I told you. This is used by drag and drop, and it's placed on your dashboard. And before you start to adding elements, it's always a good idea to open this little guy here, which shows you a live draft. And the live draft reflects the current state of the report. You see the elements as you would have it then in your final report. And we have here in the background a table, but it's not just a straight table. It's already a pivot table with multiple columns, dimensions, and measures. So what we are going to do is we click once on Add Element. So we have a new element in our report. Then we go on Select Qlik Object, pick the pivot table. We could, of course, pick any object, any Qlik chart from any worksheet that we have in our system. But I'm going to stick with the first one, click on Apply, and it is part of my report automatically. And that's everything you need to do. Click, drag, drop, done. If we close the window, the preview window, switch from edit mode to normal mode, doing our selections as we usually do it, and we click on the report button, boom, there we have it. A complete reflecting of the original pivot table that we have in the background, showing the region, channel name, last year sales, total year sales, the formatting, the color formatting is there, the number formatting, color formatting, and of course it is multi-page, so it does automatically switch to the next page, copying the pivot and shows me the rest of the table. Yeah? It's not an image, and that means it's SVG. SVG is zoom in for infinite. Yeah. Okay, so that's the first part. Switching from the Pixel Perfect tool to ancoreShare means you can add objects really easily. But we do that in 3 different stages. Stage 1 is the compose. Compose means we add objects to the report. First object was our Wizlet pivot table. In that case, could be any table, any straight table, any pivot table, doesn't matter. Even third-party tools will be accepted in ancoreShare. The next one, maybe we go with the scatter plot and the region sales. Let's try it. Select Qlik, scatter plot, apply. And it is part of my report. As long as we are in live draft, charts will be shown as a kind of a thumbnail. Only tables will be shown in with the first 10 rows. If we want to change that, we can switch from live draft to preview, then it will get all the data. But what if my data changes? Let's zoom in a little. I see, oops, there is a typo. It's called region's name, not region name. And region name is a master measure. So the same error is also in my dashboard, in my original table. So that means I need to go to my master items, switch from, go to my region name, edit here, continue. If I'm going to change the typo here from region's name to region name and redraw my report, it's done. So that means everything you change in your dashboards, in your data, in your master items, master measure items, means it also will be changed automatically in your reports. So that's the part of the first one, the composing. But sometimes you want to change some parts of the table. So you don't want to go with the setting that you have done in your original table. And that is also possible. Let's go with the Visloop table back to table, and there is called set column styles. And with this little guy, it's possible that we can just check for a single region name, just for the region name or channel name, or the whole header. So let's change the whole header. And instead of fill color gray, we go with some fancy blue, and the font color we change to white. Apply, close, and it is also changed in my report. Now we have the combination of the original table that you have created in your report plus the region style changes that we have done with our column styles, and that reflects then in our report. Okay, so we are now in the design stage, from the adding, the composing the single objects, and then changing the design, adding texts, header, footer, whatever you need. Page numbering. Hold on, page numbering? Didn't mention that before. Yes, page numbering is here in that area. It's called report and page. Here we have a couple of settings, like the page settings. Is it A4? Is it maybe a different background color? Yes, you can change the background color in the same way as we did it with the color. So the complete background color. We can even go and set the background color, the opacity of the tables, so then it would be bluish as well. We could change definitely here easily with one click from landscape to portrait, and everything will be kept in the report fine because of the fact that we're using relative positions here. Yep. Going back to landscape, get rid of our funny background color. There's also one thing that I want to mention. You might have seen before that when I execute the report, it blocks the interface, so you cannot do anything while it is executing the report. This is now possible with the so-called background execution. With that enabled, we can set a maximum execution that we want to have in parallel. We close it, and now we can do something like we set the selection on central, execute our report, then we change our selections. You see there is no blocking anymore, and we can execute another report. And those will be executed in parallel, as you can tell here. And when they are done, they will be outputted by the deployment that we have set up. In that case, it's the PDF, yeah, in the download. So, and now we have two different selections. That means you can execute the report and go on with your analytics. That is a very powerful feature as well. Okay, let's go back. Background settings. But it is not only the background settings. Sometimes you want to have it executed in as an automated one. And that is definitely possible by creating an execution link. And I'm not going to finish that, just to tell you. And with this automation, you can execute it in the background as well, by a scheduler, maybe. Alrighty, good. So we added the pivot table, we added the bar chart or the scatter plot chart. Now it's time to decide where we're going to deploy our report. And for the deployment, we have many possibilities. One would be the download that we already have seen. But we also could go by WhatsApp, send it by Google Drive, in a Dropbox, or use Qlik automations for many different other output or deployment destinations, or Microsoft Power Automate if you like. So all together brings dozens or even hundreds of different destinations. For my little presentation here, I'm going to use Google Drive. And with Google Drive, we can do an OAuth authorization. I'm going to activate that and send it to my user here. And yes, I know I'm trustworthy. And there we go. We have set up our authorization. For Google Drive, there is something that the folder names are having IDs like this here, and we just copy and paste it here. So now it will send it directly to that particular folder. And you know what? Because just we can, Qlik automation, we use the Qlik automation and store it in our SharePoint folder as well. And that can be using parameters on which folder and destinations and recipients, of course, very easily. So we're done. Just, we always used PDF. Should we stick with PDF? Okay, for this, we just click and it will create the PDF and send it directly to both destinations that we have defined. One in my ancoreSoft SharePoint folder and the other one in my private Google Drive folder that I have set up before. But it's definitely possible to change it also. Sorry. So we have it here in our Google Drive. And there is our final report showing the settings. But it's also definitely possible to switch to different export formats. And for that, you don't have to go to another different interface, install anything else. No, the only thing you need to do is change to PowerPoint, data exports to fill up your Excel sheets, to Word, to PowerPoint. When I say PowerPoint or HTML, I mean real PowerPoint, real HTML. Let's see what happens. Execute it again. In that case, instead of creating just a PDF, it will create a facsimile of the PDF and switch the format from PDF to PowerPoint. And that will be stored then in your Google Drive folder in that case. And since Google Drive can open PowerPoints, it will change it to slides, Google Slides, it's called as. Yeah, there we have it. So it will convert it and open it as a Google slide. And there was a pivot table with multiple pages. So the multiple pages will also be in my PowerPoint without any further effort from my side. So really simple mouse clicks do that. All right, there are tons of other features and functionalities which completes it to a real reporting suite. Fact is, there is cycling, bursting, any kind of positioning, header, footer, I already mentioned before. So that would definitely exceed the presentation time that we have. So that's why I'm going to switch to my next sheet here. And yes, of course, I almost forgot. There is more. It's a single thing that I absolutely need to show you. You might have heard about it. It's called ancoreScript. ancoreScript, and yeah, I know that people think, oh, it's something to develop. You need to know JavaScript or not. Yes, that's true. It is a development interface that gives you the possibility to write code. Yeah, you can sit here and start like a coder, boom. But that is not my intention for this presentation. What I want to show you is our template scripts. And this is like you have dozens of extensions with many functionalities already installed on your system. Like the famous quick table viewer developed by my friend and colleague Christof Schwarz, which is now part of ancoreScript. Or, and this is something I really love to show you, a thing that is called native charts. I don't do anything else, just to want to show you this function here. Native charts means you can click on any chart that you see on this side or on any worksheet. And with the click here, it is part of my chart generator. I'm adding the second one here as well. And if I'm clicking here on create PPTX, it creates a PowerPoint. Do I have here one? Okay, need to open it here. Sorry. And what you see is it is a native PowerPoint chart. So double click and you can alter it to your requirements, but the data comes directly into the PowerPoint from your Qlik Sense chart. And that is really a powerful tool. So with mouse clicks, copy paste, and you have it directly in your Qlik Sense chart. So, but that's it, definitely. So from my side, thank you very much for your attendance, and back to you, Alessandra.
Thanks, Christian, and thanks for this amazing insights of ancoreShare and ancoreScript. It's always nice to see when a product starts and then based on feedback and based on what we hear from our customer, it gets developed and you develop further and then you see how it changes and how it's shaped into something with further progress. So now we're having our Qlik ambassador, Christof Schwarz, who will introduce us to ancoreMobile.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, talking to mute. Thank you, Alessandra, for the nice introduction. And I'm really totally excited. It's the first presentation to the public, if you will, about ancoreMobile. Coming from, and for that I have to tell you a story. I don't want to claim that this is everywhere like that, but in the story and in the custom that we've experienced, we found that 70% of executives did not use the BI tool. So you probably hear this in some of your clients, or you're maybe the same type of person. Give it to Excel, give it to me in Excel. And then only I can, I trust the data. So what we also found is people, there is mobile solutions, but people like to have simple solutions on their mobile phone. And in our particular case, we were asked to step in and build a native mobile app because the experience they tried with the Qlik mobile app and also to do that with a mashup was just not natural enough. So that's the story. And in case you follow me on LinkedIn, you probably also see us at DataBridge talk about DB Mobile a lot. It's 100% the same thing, just that we want to collaborate with ancoreSoft in the regards products, and ancoreSoft is calling it ancoreMobile. And in our case, actually, it helped the Qlik customer to stay with Qlik on C-level. They were looking for alternatives, and actually, because they like it so much, there is really retention satisfaction. But first things first. And I'm not going to read the whole slide at you, just to point out two things. What the key users expected when we asked, why not just use the mobile application, mobile app from Qlik, for example. And what they came is, I want to enrich it with AI-driven insights. So I want more than just KPIs. Of course, the KPIs at one glance, that's like a given. And what also was pretty important was design aesthetics, believe it or not. So with that, I want to give you a live demo. And just to be clear, this is about an artificial sales dashboard. I know that when you would like to have a mobile application, it's not this app, exactly that one, because that's just an example. And I will switch to screen sharing. It's not always easy, but now I'm projecting my iPhone. And I hope my mom doesn't call me exactly that time. And here is the sales application. So what we can see here is the most important KPIs. And I can immediately start to interact by clicking on this. I maximize by clicking, for example, on a value like on air. This is a drill behavior which we love by Qlik, the drill group. Of course, you can go back by tapping at it, releasing the filter. So you see there are very simple interactions made available. If this alone you would compare to Qlik, the chart first goes into full screen. Whenever you make a selection, you are asked to confirm. This is like 2-3 steps all the time that are perceived as too heavy to operate in our target group. And also you realize that actually I've started with some selections already. So when the user the very first time gets onboarded, he is taken through an onboarding process. I'll repeat this now. And the onboarding is a mix of asking for some preferred settings. The technical folks can translate this into setting a variable in the back. So here, monthly data or year to date, or do you want to look at one chart by product or rather by geography when you open it? What would be your preferred first selection? That's a bookmark then, and so on and so on. So by making these selections already, you again reduce one more interaction, which is open it and set your preferred bookmark. It's already done. Of course, you can still toggle and make your own switches. Like here, this is a chart per month or one that accumulates the entire year, including previous year values, targets. You can imagine this chart functionality. So that is more or less the BI part. What I'm going to show now is the AI part. And for that, we have sent data into a large language model to find me some outliers to some news in the data, we call it. And we aggregate those into a blog, into a podcast style that you can just play. I'm not sure if it transfers now the sound, but what it's going to read or meant to read, we can also view, of course. But if the executive, for example, is in the car, he could have this read at him, that way learning about changes in the data since last day or last week, one after the next. And this can go super complex as well, not for the user, I mean complex, but the large language models offer so much functionality. We are now switching to from OpenAI to Ollama and to have exact control of what it's learned, and this goes very well in combination with Qlik charts, for example, or hypercubes for those who are technical. Bookmarks, well, you can imagine you set your additional bookmarks. And lastly, I like Ask Me, because Ask Me is nothing else than the Insight Advisor that Qlik has built. So it's a wrapper around it, and it's getting better year after year. Now adding large language models, it's become even better than if you once tried it in the past, and that's a couple of years ago, you should give it a new try, because it's really giving good answers. Like for me, the question was sales by country in APAC. So it's a mix of a KPI sales by country. That would be a dimension, not exactly that is the field name. That would be too easy. And APAC happens to be a value, and this is a filter in region. So it reads here region all applied, and it produces a decent graphics just as an outcome, as a combination of all of it. So this represents a vehicle to deliver any of your needs that come from the AI side and BI side with a Qlik app in the background. I think I stopped sharing entirely. I need to reshare. I wanted just to close the projection of the phone. Yeah, that's about ancoreMobile. There are 4 steps necessary to like your personal solution. It is about sitting and defining the design. That is not only the corporate identity. Of course, it's about what charts do you need. We assume that by that time you have an app that you want to bring to mobile. And then there's the build phase where we work out the React Native app. React Native, well, for those technical folks in the audience, this is everything you see is not an emulation of a browser chart. So it's not the good old capabilities API or so. So it's really a complete locally rendered visualization. And that is React Native. And then when it comes to deploy, we need to work out also the security, the ironing of your mobile phone connection to your Qlik Cloud needs to be, of course, put there in place. And finally, a rollout. So in an easy process, this is 4 weeks duration. And we at DataBridge will be the implementation partner of ancoreMobile. Yeah, with that, Ale, that's like my first of the 2 new products.
Thanks, Christof. Fabulous to have our most important data and KPIs always with us anywhere. But you stay here with me because now you have to introduce us also to ancoreBackup.
Yes, yes. I hold this slide for just a second. If someone is interested to listen to the Qlik Dorkcast episode 36 that was recorded in February, it goes into more details. And if you're technical, that you will love that one because the Qlik Dork is interviewing us on the mobile solution. But now, yeah, ancoreBackup. ancoreBackup. The preamble to this solution is also quite obvious. If you are a Qlik Cloud user, then there is currently no backup and restore solution other than Qlik CLI and third-party products. So the Qlik CLI, what do I mean is this is like when you go to Qlik community, you say, okay, there is this lovely CLI called Qlik.exe, and with this you can connect to your tenant, and then you can of course access all your apps, and you can also download them as a QVF file. And well, if this is your answer and you have just a handful of apps available on your tenant, maybe that's good. But how about scheduling? How about retrials? How about the ownership of all the content within the app? Because when you take it down as a local file and upload it again, all those ownerships are gone. So if this is, in short words, not a scalable backup solution. So what we did with the vision to, at the end, back up the entire Qlik SaaS tenant, not only apps, but all that is on your tenant, from AutoML to automations to connections, extensions, license assignments, everything needs to be able to be downloaded on your own cloud drive. It's not that we would want your backed up data. You would add and connect one of these cloud storages, and if it's not one of the 3, then let's talk. Maybe there's a 4th we should put into consideration. And yeah, it enables all that is makes a good solution work. The architecture very simple. It's we plan to launch this as a SaaS service that connects to your tenant and offers a management console. I'll show that and demo that in a second. And also it executes the backups into the storage provided by you. And then there's also a Qlik extension, an Anchor script to be precise, that can also trigger an ad hoc backup if needed. If you're the developer and think, okay, now I reached a static or a good, state of a designing of an app, you hit the button and this is then written into the cloud storages. We distinguish here, and I don't want to take this too far, but just on a high level, you have a task which defines what you want to back up. Think of it like a whole space, for example. then the runs are the executions of such a task, which is typically triggered by a schedule or a trigger. And then the job is then what actually is executed, the smallest item. Why I'm saying this? Because the job, and you don't need to worry about it, but just if you would try yourself, you would sooner or later hit some limits of Qlik APIs. So you need to definitely have between the logical run and the physical job that executes some retry mechanisms, some heavy parallel workers that we are by default starting 4 workers to work in parallel. And if something breaks, automatically it will start and try to retry the API that after some seconds of delay will then be available again. So too much talking, I believe. Let's jump right into it. So what we see here is the management front end. Right now, still running on localhost. As said, this is planned to become then to be made available as a SaaS solution. And of course, you would connect to your one or multiple tenants. So you can set up multiple tenants here if you happen to have such. And also you would connect your and create connections to your storages. One of the 3 that I believe cover most of the use cases. In my case, I already authorized my Azure blob, and which means I've done my work, and I can now, as the first one who installed it or used it, invite other users who become operator, pure reader, and sooner or later you go and start your first backup. So backing up, we can do apps, of course. I think let's start already with a space, which means it takes everything it finds there. Space backup 1, I choose my tenant, choose my location, my target, and then we are prompted with the spaces. So whatever I see here is coming from a connection made to Qlik Cloud in the back. So if I went here and look into the same space, I see, for example, currently 2 apps in this space. And I can decide to make backup of the apps with or without data. And I go data with data in this case. I don't want a schedule. I just do this at this point manual. So finally, I get a quick review what I'm just about to create. And I'm confirming it. And then you select this and execute it if it wasn't on a schedule. So it goes now and starts running. And it becomes now a hyperlink. So we see the level deeper that I explained before from the task. It is a run, and the run is already completed. Behind the run, there are several jobs that were executed, and each job took one of the apps and saved it to my cloud drive. So if I were now on too much signing in here. Let me see if this goes quick. Otherwise, I guess you can believe that it ends up in my Azure blob. So what we're taking there, nice, it goes quick. I love it like that. So it always puts a JSON and a file and the app itself. This is enough to do the restore, and the JSON is there to give me some additional information of how to what the ownership of artifacts in the app had been. So later we will see in the restore case. Sorry, wrong sheet. What I can also do here is I can download this pair of apps if I want to. So this just gives me a zip file of these 2 files, which I can take to somebody else, to a completely different foreign tenant, if you will, and upload it, and it will work it from there. So that's the backup part. We've seen apps. Now let's do a restore. Actually, what I prefer to do a restore is not so much from here. Every backup run can be reverted into a restore because it has all the context. It knows, okay, at this point you had these two apps. It just confirms it to me. I'm just giving here the target tenant and hit restore, and within seconds we should see in this space actually restored versions of the apps coming in, which is now. You see also for a moment it had to set the owner, because once the app is uploaded, it would just be the technical user. And the same goes for all the contents that were in the app. None of the owners would see their bookmarks and their own sheets and whatnot. So here I can see the same sheets that I had in my original app when I was on Sheets. Yeah, lastly, this is also the Anchor script integration I showed you. I was promising I didn't show yet. When I hit this, it triggers an ad hoc backup, just as we've seen it before, with the information that it's about this one particular app at this time, and it creates an immediate run for it. And when I check the backup status, it confirms that the backup is complete. And yeah, we'll have a more decent interface when we are about to release it, and then we can also do a restore if you wanted to right out of the app itself. So before I close, I'll just go back to the new backup once again and tell you where this is heading to, the tenant backup. I have a build that is about a week old. I didn't want the one that was brewed this morning. I said, okay, I have a presentation tonight, and better not to kill the show. We are already at the point that we can do data connections, automations, licenses. So all you see on screen is currently in the lab. In the current version, I could, with one click, go and make a combined backup of multiple items. And this is, if Qlik buys another company and there will be, I don't know, tomorrow some another type of onboarded, we will also add it here. Yeah, that's it, pretty much. Yes. Back to you, Ale.
You are muted, Alessandra.
Yeah, talking to mute.
Thank you, Axel. Of course, I'm muted. Thanks, Christof, for this two presentation. As I was saying in mute, I really wouldn't know which one I would choose if I had to choose one between ancoreMobile and ancoreBackup. I love them both. Without further delay, as we're running a bit late, thank you for staying with us all this time. We have now the Q&A. Please put in the chat all the questions you have for us. We're eager to see your question and to answer them. Let's see if you can create a bit of travel into our expertise. And I will put also Christian on screen. So we're all three here, Chris and me.
Hello back again. Thank you, Christof, for this great presentation. Really appreciate it. Wonderful.
No questions so far.
So while we're waiting for the questions, I do have a question. When will we launch ancoreBackup and ancoreMobile?
Yeah, with Qlik Connect, short answer.
Perfect.
So the current status you've seen, it's already pretty stable, everything. And now we're fine-tuning it. And Qlik Connect is the moment we will be able to deliver, to ship.
Really good. So ancoreMobile and ancoreBackup do this in the same time, launched and ready to see live in action on the Qlik Connect. And that is another thing that is very important. Come and see us at Qlik Connect in Orlando. where we have all of our applications. ancoreShare, of course, Anchor Maps, still a big thing, and our new products as well. Wonderful.
There's a question from Daphna.
No. Let's check the questions. Yes. Is there a control panel for seeing all the reports?
A control panel for seeing all the reports. Yes, there is. In fact, it is a single click, and then you can have all the reports that you have. It doesn't matter on which worksheet you have it. And plus, you don't have only the reports, but there is a new functionality. I'm going to show you this in a sec, because that is a really important question as well. Let me share my screen again. So as soon as you click one report, on the lower right side, there is about ancoreShare. You have a so-called view usage statistics. So you see exactly how many reports you have executed, and that particular report that we see, how many times have you executed, how many reports have you executed on the application, and how many reports has been executed by the user that is currently logged on. And in the same way, you can create a new extension. In that case, it's an AncoreScript extension that shows all the reports that you have on your screen or on the dashboards. Yeah.
We have another question. Will ancoreMobile only be available via Qlik Cloud?
Yes, but for those who are not on Qlik Cloud, we can fill the gap for you, so to speak. It needs to connect to a cloud tenant. If you never want to go to Qlik Cloud, we can take just one app and host it in your name, so you don't need to get license from Qlik for that, because we also have an OEM partnership that could cover this. So it's a contractual construct, but technically it's Qlik Cloud. And this also goes for non-Qlik customers, actually. Some using Power BI on Snowflake, we can take the Snowflake data model, put a minimalistic Qlik app that doesn't need to be nice, because it will be nice on mobile. It can also be a use case to be covered.
I see there is a question about the pricing. Yes, the price is not set up yet, but will be revealed also with Qlik Connect.
Then we have another question. We're using QlikView Desktop Enterprise version. I can access QMC and cannot able access QMS. What should we do?
Isn't it wonderful that there is still QlikView in use, Christof?
Yes, back the days. No, I don't see the question in my panel, but maybe
in the chat.
You can pick it.
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat.
I
It's in the
needed to
chat.
refresh. Sorry. I don't see it. Sorry. Wait, what? Can you repeat?
We're using QlikView Desktop Enterprise version. I can access QMC and cannot able access QMS. What should we do?
I don't think this has to do with our tools and presentation. I think it's like that. doesn't add up here.
And there's another question. Where is ancoreShare resources running? Is it SaaS? This is a good question, because many people don't get it. ancoreShare is an extension. So it means all you have seen is just an extension and does not need any external resources. And each report that you drag on your QlikView, Qlik Sense, QlikView, yes, now we're back. No, every report that you drag on your dashboard will be saved with your app inside the app. And all the functions that you have seen are completely executed on the client side, not using any external system. And very important, I cannot stress this enough, it works on both environments, Qlik Sense on-premise and Qlik Cloud in the same way. There is only a few little differences, but usually no external services are required. Of course, if you're going to use some external services like Google Drive or so, then of course you have to go online. But usually just local on your system. That's why it works on Qlik Sense Desktop, on-premise, and Qlik Cloud. I love it. Really a lot of questions coming in here.
Yeah.
We have another one. Are there any plans to give something like ancoreMobile for Qlik developers to develop? I would love to develop apps like that myself.
I guess it's just a question of getting onboarded and trained. It takes a bit to get into it, but it's not super hard, especially if you're a developer. The descriptive language or working with, React Mobile, it is for pros. It's some coding, but it's not like the low level dirty stuff. So short answer
is definitely on the development plan for the future. Definitely.
Yeah, let's work it out. You could be one of our early proof points to say, okay, does not only our own lab understand what we've done, but also Nikita, you're happy to join us. I bring you in the loop. Just reach out to us. Thanks.
I think we have answered all the questions. I'm checking also the chat again. Yes, I think we have answered all the questions for now. But of course, if you have another question like tonight, you remember I have another question for Ancoresoft. Please feel free to send us an email at connect@ancoresoft.com. We're always here to answer all your questions, everything. And of course, if you're happening to go to the Qlik Connect this year in Orlando, Florida, from the 13th to the 15th, our booth number is 416. Please come by and say hello. Also, just for a chat, feel free to pass by. We're very happy to see all of you also live. And
I don't think you can miss it. I don't think you can miss it because we come with more than 10 people this year.
Yeah, we will be very visible. Absolutely.
Just look where it's really crowded and everyone is wearing a data cap net.
Exactly. But last but not least, I said in the beginning there will be a small surprise, and of course there is. As Chris already announced, ancoreMobile, ancoreBackup will be launched at the Qlik Connect. But of course, since you're participating here today, you will have the chance to be one of the early adopters because we will send you an email as soon as we launch it. So thank you again for joining us today. Thank you, Chris and Chris. Thank you to the organization, Axel, and all the team in the background. And yeah, we hope to see you in Florida or soon at the next webinar.
Thank you very much and see you soon. Bye-bye.
See you soon.